Hi, this is Anatole, and this is my review of Twilight Zone Season 1, Episode 9, titled Perchance to Dream, which scored 7.6 on IMDb. The title comes from Hamlet, the famous quote, "To sleep, perchance to dream." And so this episode was not written by Rod Serling, it was written by Charles Beaumont. I believe it is, Charles Beaumont, from Charles Beaumont's short story, directed by Robert Flory, and I have to agree with that rating of 7.6. There is an interesting idea in this story about the power of dreams to affect reality, but the situation itself is both contrived and flimsy at the same time. So contrived in that it takes this special circumstance of a man with a heart condition and a repeating dream, and a dream of a woman with the name of Maya, who is, I believe, the Inca god of death. I can check that in 1 second. For all these things to come together in order to make a story where this idea of a person that dies in his sleep is also going to die in reality, when we need a more general idea, one that could apply to everyone. And Wes Craven would later take this same idea and use it much more effectively, in my opinion, in his Nightmare on Elm Street movies, because there it was just for anyone who's sleeping that is attacked by Freddy Krueger would get killed. And so any one of us could fall prey to Freddy Krueger. In this story, it was that special circumstance of the man with the heart condition. And then the second issue I have with the story is that because the story takes place in a dream, and it starts in reality and then very quickly turns into the world of dream. And another bone I have to pick with the story is that the twist we can see coming from a mile away, because as soon as he goes into the doctor's office and lays down, they telegraph the fact that his state is changing by dimming the lights and then raising it again. So from that point on, I knew that he was in a dream. But my main issue with the fact that most of it takes place in a dream is that we can't trust anything that happens in the dream. Any explanation we're given over his circumstances could just be part of the dream world and not real explanation. So all this story about him having a serial dream and being chased through his dreams by a woman named Maya, we learn all this information while he's in the dream. How do we not know that's not the invention of the dream? That as soon as he fell asleep, that became the reality that existed for him that never existed before. And in fact, there's not internal consistency with his logic about this dream always continuing, because why is it that every night up to that night that he dreams after going to the psychiatrist, he is on the roller coaster, but then when he goes to the psychiatrist's office, his dream is about a dream in the psychiatrist's office. It's no longer on the roller coaster. So in that way, it's not playing fair with us, the viewer, because it changes the rules of the game midstream. So that is a cheap plot device to change the rules or to withhold information. Those are things that mystery writers do so they can hide who the murderer is or how the murderer committed their crime. And it's a cheap plot device. You should be fair with the viewer or the reader. Every element that you're using to surprise the viewer should be there in full view. And so the fact that you have a character talking about serial dreams and then the last dream he has is not part of the serial dreams is not playing fair. Unless everything he says once he falls asleep is just part of the dream world and is not consistent with reality. So he never had those serial dreams. He's dreaming that he had those serial dreams. But then that also would not play fair with the viewer, because you're setting up a situation that's completely arbitrary, and you never explain that it's just arbitrary. Then we never get that scene where the doctor goes, "Aha, it was all just a dream in his head, and everything he imagined was just part of that dream." Or as he's falling down, the main character's falling down, he has that flash. "Oh, I messed up. This was all just in my head to begin with." We were never given that. So we have to assume the logic of the story is he's been dreaming every night the same dream, and then unbeknownst to him, and as a surprise to us, this last night the dream is not serial. Instead, it's contiguous with his reality. He lives a reality where he goes up in the psychiatrist's office, lays down to sleep, and his dream continues from there, but he has no awareness of the fact that he's fallen asleep. See how contrived all that is? So that's one of the reasons why I'm not so fond of the episode. I saw complaints on, I think it was Mild Fuzz, their critique of this, it was another YouTube reviewer, that the middle act is very weak. So there are pacing issues. And I can see that, because the whole second act is just him talking about how Maya begins chasing him. Oh, I looked up Maya, by the way. So Maya comes from Hinduism. It's the supernatural power wielded by gods and demons to produce illusions. So that, in a way, points to the fact that that is a real supernatural force that is haunting him in his dreams, and that is creating this illusion of the serial continuity and then breaking it. But in the end, it doesn't play fair with the viewer, so I didn't buy in. Anyways, those are my thoughts on this episode of Twilight Zone. Weaker episode, and they're not all winners. So that's it. Okay. Until next time, take care and be well. Goodbye.